He who is not a good servant will never be a good master. Epictetus. Ever wondered how to make someone think about you constantly, even when you're not around? It's not magic. It's actually a powerful Stoic secret. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make her mind keep drifting back to you, effortlessly, without manipulation or tricks. Imagine her mind like a calm sea. The right energy, the right presence can stir those waters until she can't help but wonder about you. The secret, it's all in how you carry yourself. By mastering Stoic principles, emotional control, quiet confidence, and presence, you naturally become magnetic. This isn't about chasing her. It's about holding a calm, intriguing energy that leaves her asking herself, what's going on in his mind? So how do you actually do this? It starts with something called Stoic indifference. When you stop over-investing emotionally and only focus on what you can actually control, something shifts. You stop giving off needy energy. Suddenly she starts coming to you. Stay with me and I'll show you how to apply this today. Step 1, don't compliment her. When it comes to attraction, especially in the early stages, most guys make the same mistake that weakens their position before they even get started. If you really want to capture her attention, and more importantly, keep her thinking about you, you need to understand a crucial piece of the attraction puzzle: uncertainty. This isn't about playing games or manipulating anyone. It's about adopting a mindset rooted in Stoic wisdom, where emotional self-control and detachment from external validation become your secret weapons. So here's the first move. Stop complimenting her. Sounds wrong, right? But here's why it works. Most guys rely on compliments to spark attraction, thinking it's a natural way to show kindness or appreciation. And sure, compliments feel easy, even harmless, but in reality, they often backfire, especially early on. If she's even remotely attractive, she's already swimming in compliments, thanks to social media, dating apps, and constant attention. Whether she's model gorgeous or just average, chances are her ego's been inflated by all that validation. And here's where Stoic wisdom comes in. Stoics teach us that the less we value things outside our control, the more power we have over ourselves. When you give her a compliment too soon, you're handing her certainty that you're interested, and that certainty kills curiosity. Instead of sparking intrigue, you become predictable. Predictability drains attraction fast. Stoicism teaches you to focus on what you can control: your actions, your emotions, your self-respect. By holding back compliments and staying rooted in your own quiet confidence, you're sending a subtle but powerful message. I don't need your approval to feel good about myself. That shift makes her curious. Why aren't you acting like every other guy? Why aren't you trying to win her over with words? Suddenly, you become a puzzle. And puzzles are irresistible. Want to learn how to master this mindset and effortlessly draw her in? Stay tuned. I'm about to break it all down. A challenge she has to figure out. That's the secret. Uncertainty fuels attraction. If a woman knows exactly how much you want her from the start, the chase ends before it even begins. So how do you keep that spark of mystery alive? By engaging with her without constantly explaining yourself. You don't need to spell out how beautiful she is or tell her how amazing she makes you feel. Instead, stay grounded in who you are and let her draw her own conclusions. That subtle space of uncertainty is where attraction grows. This is one of the most powerful Stoic lessons you can apply to dating. Less is more. The less you explain yourself, the more she'll want to understand you. The less certainty you give, the more her mind will linger on you, trying to figure you out. Now let's bring this into today's world. With social media shaping so much of how we connect, it's easy to get caught up in chasing likes, compliments, and validation. Many people, men and women, build their whole sense of worth on external praise. But true confidence, as the Stoics teach, comes from within. When you practice indifference to praise, you build a sense of self that can't be shaken, whether people adore you or ignore you. This doesn't mean shutting people out or acting like you don't care. It means you stop depending on their approval to feel valuable. And in dating, that inner confidence is everything. It's tempting to want to impress her, especially if you're really into her. But if your whole approach revolves around compliments and trying to win her over with praise, you unknowingly put yourself in the position of seeking her approval. Instead, what if you could show your interest, not through words, but through your presence, your calm energy, and the way you carry yourself? That small shift changes everything. It stops being about her external beauty and starts being about your inner strength. That's where real attraction comes from. And here's the twist. When you hold back a bit, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect, you naturally create uncertainty. Her subconscious will start working overtime, trying to figure you out. Is he into me? How much does he actually like me? Does he like me more than I like him? That little bit of uncertainty is powerful, because the more her mind searches for answers, the more she thinks about you. It's human nature, especially for women. When she can't quite put her finger on you, you become a mystery she wants to solve. But, and this is key, balance matters. This isn't about acting cold or pretending you're not interested when you clearly are. It's about emotional control. You don't need to flood her with attention or over-explain your feelings to prove you care. You show it through your actions, your presence, and the confidence you carry within yourself. That's the Stoic way, valuing your own inner peace so deeply that you never need anyone else's approval to feel good about who you are. And in today's world, where everyone's chasing likes, comments, and constant reassurance, that kind of quiet confidence is rare. It's magnetic. When you stop needing external validation, you free yourself. And the more you embrace this Stoic mindset of emotional control, the more the people around you, including her, will notice. By introducing just enough uncertainty, you're not playing games. You're inviting her mind to engage with you. And that's how you create a connection that's deeper than words or compliments ever could. You leave her wondering, intrigued, wanting more. Because at the end of the day, it's not about impressing her. It's about being a man so rooted in his own sense of worth that she can't help but be drawn into your world. So remember, don't compliment her. Not because you don't admire her, but because you understand a deeper truth. The real key to attraction isn't flattery. It's emotional control and inner strength. When you embody that kind of self-assured presence, she won't be thinking about you because of what you said. She'll be thinking about you because of who you are. Step 2. Don't ask for a date. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Let's talk about one of the most underrated, yet insanely powerful ways to make her think about you non-stop. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with intention. In the world of dating, there's one element that fuels attraction more than anything else: uncertainty. If you've been following Stoic principles, you already know that true confidence comes from emotional control, from staying centered no matter what's happening around you, and that same mindset. It's magnetic in relationships. Picture this. You've had a great time with her. Great conversation, laughter, maybe even a spark. It's tempting, natural even, to want to lock in that connection by asking her out again right away. But here's the twist. Don't ask for another date. When you say things like, "We should do this again," or "I had such a great time tonight," you're giving her something you shouldn't: certainty. And while certainty might feel reassuring to you, in the world of attraction, it kills the mystery. Why? Because you've answered the question before she even had a chance to wonder. You've removed the intrigue, the curiosity, the delicious tension that keeps her thinking about you after you leave. If you leave things open-ended, no promises, no follow-ups, that's when the magic happens. Her mind starts asking, did he enjoy himself? Does he want to see me again? Did I leave an impression? Those questions don't disappear. They hang in the air, pulling her thoughts back to you long after you're gone. You become the question she wants answered, and that's exactly where you want to be. Stoicism meets modern dating. This mindset isn't just about playing games. It's Stoicism applied to relationships. At its core, Stoic happiness comes from focusing only on what you can control: your actions, your words, your energy. What you can't control is her response, her feelings, or how quickly the connection evolves. By staying composed and not pushing for a guaranteed outcome, you actually make her more curious about you. That curiosity creates attraction. The less you give away, the more her imagination works overtime, and the more she's drawn to the mystery of who you are. You don't need to ask for the next date. If there's chemistry, things will naturally unfold, and if there's not, you've saved yourself the effort of chasing something forced. A story to bring it to life. Let's talk about Mark. Mark meets Julie at a coffee shop. Instant chemistry, great conversation, plenty of laughs. It's clear they vibe. At the end of their chat, Mark feels that familiar pull, that urge to say, let's do this again sometime. But instead, Mark keeps it cool. He smiles and says, it was really nice talking to you. That's it. Julie leaves, and here's where the magic begins. Over the next few hours, Julie can't stop thinking, did he feel the same spark? Does he want to see me again? Did I make an impression? Meanwhile, Mark isn't obsessing. He's grounded in his own life, his values, and his purpose. Whether Julie reaches out or not doesn't define his sense of worth. That quiet confidence? That's Stoicism in action. By leaving things open-ended, Mark created a mental space where Julie can't help but reflect and wonder and miss him. That's how emotional control works in your favor. The power of letting go. One of the most powerful Stoic lessons is this. True happiness comes from accepting what you can't control. You can't control how someone feels about you. You can't force anyone to like you. But you can control how you show up, calm, confident, and unattached to the outcome. When you stop seeking external validation, when you no longer need to be told you're liked or wanted, you unlock a rare kind of self-assurance. And in a world where everyone's chasing attention, that quiet confidence stands out like nothing else. When you leave someone guessing, not out of manipulation, but out of self-respect, you become the mystery they want to solve. You're no longer just another guy. You're the one who lingers in her mind long after you've left the room. That's when something powerful happens. She starts investing mentally. She becomes curious, intrigued, and eager to figure you out. This uncertainty you're creating, it's not just some clever dating tactic. It's actually a reflection of a core Stoic truth. You are content with yourself, fully at peace, regardless of the outcome. Now you might be thinking, isn't it rude to leave things so open-ended? Wouldn't it be clearer and kinder to just spell things out? Fair question, but here's the answer, straight from the Stoic mindset. Stoicism teaches us to stay indifferent to outcomes as long as we act with integrity. In other words, you're not being rude, you're respecting both your own time and hers. By not rushing to offer certainty, you're giving her something far more valuable, the space to reflect. You're allowing her to process the interaction on her own terms, rather than feeding her the answers up front. Ironically, giving someone exactly what they expect right away can actually lower your perceived value. There's nothing left to wonder about, no curiosity left to explore. How this fits into the modern dating scene. Let's be real. Dating apps have conditioned everyone to expect instant answers. Swipe, match, message, date, all at lightning speed. In that fast-paced world, every interaction starts to feel like a race to secure the next yes before the connection fades. But the truth is, the best connections, the ones that actually last, happen when you step away from that frantic pace, when you're not trying to lock her down immediately, when you're comfortable letting things unfold naturally, when you're not chasing certainty or forcing a next step. That's when you stand out. You create space for something that's becoming rare, genuine curiosity. This isn't about playing games. Let's be clear. This isn't about manipulation. It's about emotional control. You're focusing on what's actually within your power, your energy, your composure, your self-respect, and letting the rest unfold in its own time. By giving her space to reflect on your interaction, to wonder about the connection, and to actually feel her own attraction grow, you do something that can't be forced. You make her think about you a lot. And the best part? You're not glued to your phone waiting for her next move. You're at peace, knowing that whatever happens next doesn't define your happiness. The real Stoic life lesson attraction doesn't come from over-explaining, overdoing, or over-giving. It comes from knowing that your emotional state and your sense of worth are yours to control, not hers. The less you chase certainty, the more attractive you become. When you practice indifference to the outcome and focus on creating moments of genuine connection, without attachment to where it leads, you unlock a deeper kind of attraction. One that's built not on flattery or convenience, but on mystery, curiosity, and the quiet confidence of a man who's at peace with himself. Rule 3. Don't ask for anything. If you really want to leave a lasting impression, especially on a woman, one of the most powerful things you can do is show her that you don't need her approval to feel whole. This is the heart of the Stoic mindset. The focus is always on mastering your own reactions, desires, and emotions, not looking to someone else to complete you. When you stop asking for things, whether it's her Instagram, a hug, or even a follow-up text, you instantly stand out. Why? Because you're different from most men. Most guys are constantly looking for little signs of validation, a quick reassurance that they're liked, wanted, or approved of. When you don't do that, you create mystery, and that mystery draws her in. Why this works so well? You might be wondering, isn't it normal to want some confirmation that she's interested? Of course, it's human, but here's the secret. The moment you start asking for reassurance, you hand her the power to decide your value. Every time you reach for your phone to say, "Text me when you get home," or "Let's hang out again soon," you're subtly putting her in control of whether or not you feel good about yourself. The more you ask, the more you signal that her approval defines your worth. But when you don't ask, when you stay grounded, content in your own life, and emotionally self-sufficient, you show her something rare. You're not looking for her to complete you. You're already whole. And that's irresistible. When you're dependent on her approval, even if you don't realize it, you unintentionally lower your own value in her eyes. Now picture this instead. You have a great interaction with her, but when it's time to leave, you don't ask for anything. You don't ask for her number. You don't ask for a follow-up date. You don't even ask her to text you when she gets home. You just walk away confidently without needing any kind of reassurance. That's when something shifts. Suddenly she's the one wondering, why didn't he ask for my Instagram? Did he even like me? Doesn't he want to see me again? That little spark of curiosity, that subtle confusion, is exactly what keeps you on her mind. She starts thinking about you, not because you pushed for her attention, but because you didn't. That makes you stand out. And let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or acting cold. It's about showing genuine inner strength, the kind that aligns perfectly with Stoic principles. You're not avoiding her. You're not trying to manipulate her into chasing you. You're simply not seeking validation from her because you already have it within yourself. That's what Stoicism teaches. Your inner peace shouldn't depend on anyone else's reaction to you. The moment you stop needing something from her, your value in her eyes goes up. You become the kind of man who's attractive, not because you're trying so hard, but because you're already complete on your own. That quiet confidence, it's rare, it's magnetic. High-value men don't beg for attention. They don't try to force a connection. They're self-sufficient. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're not desperate for anyone's approval because they already approve of themselves. This is a tough mindset shift, especially today. Social media and dating apps have trained us to chase constant validation. Our likes, comments, DMs, matches. It's a loop that leaves most people restless and insecure. But here's the thing, every time you chase validation, you give away a little bit of your own power. You trade inner peace for a temporary dopamine hit. That's exactly the cycle Stoicism helps you break. The Stoic approach to dating. Living a Stoic life doesn't mean you're cold, emotionless, or playing hard to get. It means you're not dependent on anyone else to feel whole. When you adopt that mindset, something amazing happens. You stop chasing approval, and you start letting things unfold naturally. It's like learning to walk without staring down at your feet. You trust that every step is leading you somewhere, without needing constant reassurance. Imagine this, you go on a date, it goes well, there's laughter, good conversation, real chemistry. The usual temptation kicks in. Maybe you want to ask for her number, or a second date, or even a follow-up text. But instead, you practice the Stoic mindset. You don't ask for anything. No hug request. No, let me know when you get home. No, let's do this again soon. You let the night end, and you walk away knowing that if she's interested, she'll reach out. And if she doesn't, you'll be fine. Why this works and feels so different. By not asking for anything, you do something most guys never do. You leave room for her mind to start working. She starts asking herself, what did he think of me? Did he even like me? Why didn't he ask to see me again? That curiosity, that sense of wonder, keeps you in her head far longer than any text you could have sent. See, the moment you ask for something, you remove the mystery. You hand her all the answers up front, and once those answers are clear, her mind moves on. But when you hold your ground, calm, self-assured, content, you leave her with a sense of intrigue. That's what sticks. That's what makes you memorable. The power of not needing anything. In a world where everyone's constantly chasing likes, follows, and attention, simply not asking for anything becomes a superpower. It signals that you're different, that your sense of self isn't up for negotiation. That's the foundation of being a high-value man, someone who doesn't need anyone else to feel complete. Think about this. How many times have you felt drained because you were constantly seeking something from others? A compliment, a text back, some reassurance that you're wanted. The truth is, those things can only fill you up temporarily. They never fix the deeper need for inner peace, the peace that comes from knowing you're enough exactly as you are. But won't this hurt the connection? This part can feel counterintuitive. You might be thinking, how can I build something real if I'm not asking for anything? Here's the truth. Real connections, the ones that last, come from balance, not pressure. When you don't need anything from her, you remove the weight of expectation from the interaction. That makes the connection feel lighter, more natural, and actually gives her the space to want to invest in you. You're showing her, without words, that your happiness doesn't depend on her approval. You're already content and confident, and if she wants to be part of that, great. If not, that's fine too, because your sense of self was never on the line. And that's the essence of both attraction and stoic power. When you carry yourself this way, she'll begin to see you as something rare, a man who doesn't beg for attention or crave validation like everyone else. Instead, you show up as someone who's emotionally self-sufficient, confident in his own worth. And here's the truth, it's that kind of man who attracts high-value relationships. You don't need her approval to feel good about yourself. And that quiet confidence speaks louder than any words ever could. By stopping the habit of constantly asking for something, her time, her attention, her reassurance, you leave space for something much more powerful, curiosity and intrigue. You show her without trying that you're a high-value man, someone who's already whole and happy on his own, not dependent on outside validation to feel complete. This stoic approach doesn't just make you more attractive to women, it also strengthens your inner peace and builds a deeper confidence in yourself. The more you pour into yourself, your passions, your purpose, your well-being, the more others will naturally feel drawn to you. And in the end, it's that sense of inner contentment and unshakable self-worth that makes you truly unforgettable. You've just unlocked one of the most powerful secrets to lasting attraction. If you're ready to embody this mindset, drop a comment that says, "She won't forget me," because trust me, when you move through life this way, she won't. Your journey to mastering attraction and unshakable confidence has only just begun. So don't stop now. 4. Don't always be available. In today's world of instant gratification and constant connection, it's so easy to slip into the habit of always being available. Quick replies, constant check-ins, always just a text away. But here's the thing, when you're always available, you lose value. You blend into the background noise, just another notification. Always there, always reachable, predictable. And predictable isn't memorable. This goes directly against the Stoic mindset, which values emotional self-control, boundaries, and the power of restraint. Instead of constantly reaching out or being glued to your phone, it's time to embrace the power of space and distance. Give her time to think about you. Let her miss you. Ask yourself, does constant back and forth texting really build attraction? Or does it just turn the connection into a routine? Something familiar instead of something exciting and intriguing? When you're not always immediately available, you give her something incredibly valuable, space. And in that space, her mind starts working. What's he up to? Why hasn't he texted me back yet? Is he even thinking about me? That curiosity, that subtle uncertainty, is where attraction starts to build. The truth is, attraction thrives in the unknown. When she doesn't have all the answers, when she isn't 100% sure how you feel, when there's a bit of mystery, that's when you stay on her mind long after the conversation ends. This isn't about playing games or being distant just for the sake of it. It's about respecting your own time and energy and giving her the space to actually crave your presence. Because here's a powerful Stoic truth. Your worth isn't determined by how much someone else wants you. Your worth comes from how you value yourself. The men you admire are the ones with that natural confidence and magnetic presence. They're not constantly glued to their phones, replying the second someone texts. They don't rearrange their lives for anyone they just met. They value themselves first. And that's exactly what makes them attractive. This isn't about playing hard to get, it's about knowing your worth and showing it through your actions. By not constantly making yourself available, you send a clear message. I'm a man with a full life. My time is valuable. And trust me, that's magnetic. Because high-value men don't chase attention. They focus on their own goals, their own purpose, and they're perfectly content whether someone fits into that or not. They're already fulfilled. And that's the energy that draws people toward them. When you adopt this mindset, you stop chasing validation and you start living on your own terms. And here's something most people forget. Attraction doesn't grow when you're always around. It grows when you're not. If you're always available, always replying instantly, always planning the next date, you remove all sense of anticipation. There's no space for her to wonder about you, and without that sense of curiosity, attraction fades into familiarity. So here's the Stoic lesson. Be present when you're there, but disappear when you're not. Let her wonder, let her miss you, let her work for your time and attention, because your time is valuable and so are you. That's the mindset shift that makes you stand out from the crowd, not by chasing, but by being the man who doesn't need to chase. Want me to keep going and tie it all into a full guide? Sometimes, if you're too available, she starts to feel like she's got you all figured out. And once that happens, the excitement, the intrigue, and the thrill of the chase starts to fade. But when you take a step back, even just a little, something shifts. You give her space to miss you, to pause and think, what's he up to? Is he thinking about me? When will I see him again? That little bit of uncertainty creates room for her to reflect on how she feels about you, and that reflection is powerful. On the flip side, if you're always there, constantly answering her messages the second they come in, always ready to call, always initiating, you take away that space. There's no room for her to wonder, to miss you, to appreciate you. Now you might be thinking, but if I don't respond right away, won't she lose interest? That's a huge misconception a lot of guys have. This isn't about disappearing for days or playing childish games. It's about creating a natural rhythm, one where you're present but not overly eager. The key is balance. Be engaged, but don't be glued to your phone. Be interested, but don't come across like you've got nothing else going on. When you leave just enough space, you allow her to look forward to hearing from you again. You make her wonder a little, and that wondering is where attraction grows. This mindset isn't just about keeping her interested, it's about keeping yourself grounded too. You're showing her and yourself that you've got a full, meaningful life that doesn't revolve around her. This doesn't mean ignoring her or pretending you're too busy. It just means being intentional. You don't need to respond instantly every time. You don't need to always be available. That kind of constant accessibility, it's exhausting for both of you. When someone's always right there, they start to feel less special. Not because they're less valuable, but because the mystery fades. There's no room for anticipation or excitement. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. True peace doesn't come from constantly chasing connection. It comes from having the self-control to step back, to hold your ground, and to trust that the right connections will flourish naturally. When you allow for space, you're showing her that you respect yourself and your time. You're not just reacting to her every whim. You're making thoughtful choices about how and when you engage. That quiet confidence, it's magnetic. This is the heart of Stoicism in relationships, emotional resilience, self-discipline, and the understanding that your value doesn't come from how quickly you respond or how available you are. A high-value man doesn't drop everything to chase someone's attention. He values his time, his peace, and his own goals, and that's exactly why women respect and desire him. Because attraction doesn't thrive on constant presence. It thrives in the space between moments where curiosity and longing have room to grow. So the next time you feel that urge to reply instantly or lock down the next date right away, pause. Take a step back. Trust that if there's a connection, it will build naturally. You don't have to force it. When you embrace that space, you not only become more intriguing, you also gain something even more valuable: emotional freedom and inner peace. 5. Trust the process. In a world that's all about instant gratification, it's tempting to want everything right now, the reassurance, the validation, the clear signs that it's all going to work out. We've been trained by social media to crave immediate feedback, whether it's a like, a comment, or a quick reply. But when it comes to building real attraction, especially with someone you truly value, the ability to resist that need for constant certainty is crucial. As someone walking the path of Stoic self-mastery, you need to understand that chasing reassurance, trying to lock in her feelings or get constant validation, actually undermines attraction instead of building it. True connection unfolds in its own time. When you rush to fill silences, overcompliment too soon, or constantly seek confirmation that she likes you, you're not building confidence, you're showing insecurity. Instead, lean into trusting the process. This is one of the core lessons of Stoicism, and it applies not just in relationships, but in every area of life. The strongest men, the ones who radiate confidence and calm, they're the ones who can sit in the unknown without panicking. They understand that some of the best things in life can't be forced. They have to unfold naturally at their own pace. When you stop trying to control the outcome, you create space for something better. A real, organic connection built on mutual desire, not neediness. So remember, trust the process, have faith in your own value, and let her come to you in her own time. That's how attraction lasts, and how you become unforgettable. Trust the process. Master the art of letting things breathe. Trusting the process means resisting that knee-jerk urge to try and control how every interaction plays out. We've all been there. You have an amazing conversation with her, and the second it ends, you feel that itch to text her again, just to keep the momentum going. Or maybe you're worried that if you don't make your intentions crystal clear right away, she'll lose interest. The truth, that's your insecurity talking, not confidence. The Stoics had this saying, wealth isn't about having more, it's about needing less. The same applies to attraction. A high-value man isn't the one constantly chasing approval. He's the one who's mastered his impulses. That means you're not showering her with unnecessary compliments, you're not begging for the next date, and you're not always the one initiating. Instead, you're giving her space to wonder about you. And that space, that's where attraction grows. Think about how many times you've been in a situation where you gave someone too much too soon, too much attention, too much reassurance, and instead of bringing them closer, it pushed them away. Maybe you texted her all day. Maybe you told her how much you liked her on date 2. Maybe you made her the center of your world before she'd even had a chance to earn that spot. We've all done it. And it's easy to believe that being open and eager shows how much you care. But more often than not, it kills the spark. Why? Because people, including women, are drawn to things they can't fully predict. The key to staying on her mind isn't overwhelming her with attention, it's leaving just enough mystery to keep her curious. Attraction thrives in the unknown. When you give her all the answers up front, there's nothing left to figure out. And with that, the excitement fades. The minute she feels certain about where you stand, she stops thinking about you. Real attraction lives in those quiet moments where she's wondering, does he like me as much as I like him? When will I see him again? What's going through his mind? That's why trusting the process is so important. It's about knowing your own value without constantly needing her to confirm it for you. And this isn't just about dating. This is a core principle for a strong, fulfilled life. Ask yourself, how many times have you relied on someone else's approval to feel good about yourself? Maybe it was her attention, a compliment, or even a like on social media. But true self-worth doesn't come from outside validation, it comes from within. That's the foundation of Stoic confidence, and it's a game changer in both relationships and life. When you practice self-control, when you resist that pull to instantly satisfy your need for her attention or approval, you're not just building attraction, you're building yourself. You're teaching her, and more importantly, teaching yourself, that you're the kind of man who doesn't need to beg for attention. You're in control of your emotions, your actions, and your mindset. A quick story, take Mark, a successful entrepreneur who met an incredible woman online. They hit it off right away. Great chemistry, fun banter, all the signs were there. But Mark knew that if he texted constantly or pushed too hard for another date, it wouldn't create the kind of attraction he wanted. So instead of filling every silence with small talk, he focused on his life, his business, his workouts, his personal growth. And guess what happened? By the end of the week, she was reaching out to him. Why? Because she was wondering about him. Why isn't he texting all the time? Does he really like me? Those unanswered questions kept him on her mind. Not because he was playing games, but because he was confident enough to let the connection breathe. Mark wasn't chasing her approval. He was living his life and letting her come to him. That's the power of trusting the process. Back to you. You're going to feel those impulses. That temptation to text her first or check in just to make sure she's still interested. It's natural. But before you act on it, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it's coming from a place of confidence? Or am I doing it because I'm scared she'll forget about me? Do you want her to be drawn to you because you're confident, independent, and self-sufficient, or because you're constantly chasing reassurance? The path to mastering self-control isn't easy, but it's worth it. As the Stoics teach, you can't control what other people do, but you can control your responses, and nowhere is that more important than in your relationships. So trust the process. Let the connection unfold naturally, without forcing it. You'll be amazed at how much more attractive you become when you're no longer grasping for certainty. Get comfortable with the unknown. That's where attraction lives. Here's a truth that's hard to swallow but absolutely essential. Attraction doesn't grow when everything is certain. It thrives in the space where curiosity lives. When you resist the urge to rush things, when you let the relationship unfold naturally instead of trying to force it, you're doing two powerful things at once. First, you're showing her and yourself that you're your own person, independent, emotionally solid, and comfortable with who you are. Second, you're teaching her to value you for who you truly are, not just for the constant attention or validation you could be throwing her way. This isn't game playing, it's self-respect in action. It's also a core principle of Stoicism, learning to rely on yourself, mastering your emotions, and realizing that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else. At the heart of it, the real lesson here is this: true power comes from within. When you resist the need to give her constant reassurance or make everything clear, you don't just spark attraction, or you build your own self-control. And self-control, that's a life skill worth mastering, not just in relationships, but in every area of your life. The more you trust this process, the more you allow things to flow naturally, the more you'll notice your connections become genuine and fulfilling. You'll rely less on other people to make you feel good, and you'll become more grounded in your own sense of inner peace. And that, my friend, is the true meaning of Stoic happiness, because at the end of the day, attraction isn't about handing her certainty on a silver platter. It's about leaving just enough space for her to wonder about you. Trust the process, resist the rush, and focus on building your own emotional strength. By doing that, you're not only creating stronger, more meaningful relationships, you're also living out the timeless wisdom of Stoicism right here and now. That's the path to deeper connections with others and with yourself. Be unpredictable, the power of keeping her guessing. Here's another secret most guys overlook. Predictability is the enemy of passion. One of the greatest lessons from Stoicism is that our strength comes from within, from controlling our own actions, not letting the world dictate how we show up. That mindset isn't just powerful for your own peace of mind, it's also a game changer when it comes to attraction. If you want to stay on her mind long after you're gone, be a little unpredictable. Why? Because when someone can't fully predict what you'll do next, they can't stop thinking about you. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best: freedom is the only worthy goal in life, and it's found by letting go of things we can't control. When you stop worrying about how you're supposed to act and start acting from your own principles, you free yourself, and you naturally become someone people are drawn to. But when you're predictable, when every text, reaction, and date follows the same script, she starts thinking she's got you all figured out. And once that happens, the mystery disappears, and so does the spark. On the flip side, when you mix things up, when you're a little spontaneous, when you're not always the first to text, when you make plans without warning, you keep her guessing. The wondering keeps her interested. Think about it like tuning a guitar. If the strings are too tight, the sound is off. But when there's the right balance of tension and slack, the music flows. Same with attraction. A little tension makes things exciting. Example: time. Let's say you've been seeing someone for a bit, and you've settled into a comfortable pattern. You text every morning, you say goodnight every evening, and you always set up the next date before the current one even ends. It's sweet, but it's also predictable. Now imagine what happens if, one day, you don't text first thing in the morning, or you don't immediately suggest plans for the weekend, not in a cold or distant way, just enough to leave her wondering. Suddenly she's thinking, wait, why hasn't he texted me yet? Does he still like me? That little bit of uncertainty pulls her attention right back to you. It makes her appreciate your presence because it's no longer guaranteed. That's the power of being unpredictable. It turns you into someone who's not just there, but someone who's worth thinking about. Keep her wondering. The power of unpredictability. There's something powerful that happens when she's left wondering what's on your mind, when your behavior shifts just slightly, not in a cold way, but in a way that keeps her guessing. That's when her thoughts start circling back to you. That's when your unpredictability works its magic. But here's the important part. This isn't about playing games, acting fake, or being manipulative. It's about living your life with purpose, staying true to yourself instead of bending your actions to constantly seek her attention or approval. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unreliable. It means you're someone with a full, interesting life, a man who isn't always available at the snap of a finger because he's genuinely busy building something for himself. That kind of energy is magnetic. High-value men, the kind who attract and keep the attention of amazing women, don't rely on predictable routines to make someone like them. They show up as themselves, fully present, confident that if a connection is real, it'll naturally grow. They trust the process, knowing that meaningful relationships aren't built by force, but by two people who are genuinely curious about each other. The key is to make your actions deliberate and thoughtful, not random or chaotic. It's about mixing things up in a way that adds to your charm, whether that's changing plans last minute to do something spontaneous or simply taking a beat before you reply to a message. You can even bring this energy into a conversation itself. Imagine you're talking to her, the vibe is good, the connection is flowing, and then you let a little silence settle in. Not awkward silence, just a confident pause. You're not rushing to fill every second with words or jokes. You're letting the moment breathe. That pause, that quiet confidence, sends a clear message. You're not performing for her approval. You're comfortable enough to just be. And that kind of self-mastery, it's irresistible. The more unpredictable you are in how much attention you give and when you give it, the more she'll catch herself wondering, what's he thinking? What's he up to? In today's world, where we can reach anyone instantly and overshare every thought, unpredictability is rare. And that's exactly why it stands out. When you fully trust the process and adopt a Stoic mindset, you realize that attraction isn't about how much attention you pour into someone. It's about the space you leave for desire to build. This isn't about withholding affection or playing hard to get. It's about respecting the natural ebb and flow of connection. When you're a little unpredictable, you keep her emotionally engaged because she's not quite sure what's coming next. That anticipation? That's where attraction grows. Predictability kills desire. One of the biggest mistakes guys make is thinking they need to be always available, always texting, always planning the next date, always filling every silence. But that constant availability doesn't create security, creates boredom. When everything's predictable, the relationship loses its spark before it even has a chance to catch fire. But when you introduce just enough unpredictability, she can't help but think about you. She wonders where things are going. She questions what's on your mind. She even starts to imagine losing you, and that's what makes her value your presence even more. Again, this isn't about being unreliable or flaky. It's about being intentional with your presence. It's about understanding that attraction isn't built by constantly giving, but by creating moments of emotional contrast, moments of closeness followed by a little space. This is the essence of Stoic attraction. You can't control her feelings, but you can control how you show up. You can be confident enough to let her wonder, knowing that the right connection will thrive in that space. So the next time you feel the urge to send that extra text, lock in plans too soon, or keep every conversation running non-stop, pause. Take a step back. Trust the process. Let her think about you. That's how you create attraction that's built to last, and how you become the kind of man who doesn't just attract women, but attracts the right kind of relationships. This is the mindset of the high-value man. And it's also the foundation for winning, not just in dating, but in life. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about her. It's about you becoming the man you were always meant to be. Next section, teaser, confidence in your own life. Ever notice how some guys seem to effortlessly draw people in, while others struggle to hold attention for more than a minute? There's one key difference: confidence in their own life. Confidence comes from within, not from her approval. One of the most powerful lessons Stoic philosophy teaches us is this: true confidence doesn't come from impressing others or chasing their approval. It comes from being at peace with yourself, with who you are and where you're headed, no matter what anyone else thinks. That kind of self-sufficiency is at the heart of Stoicism. It's the quiet strength that allows you to move through life without constantly needing reassurance. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca put it, a man is not good because he is loved, but because he is able to love himself. When you build a life that excites you, a life that's meaningful on its own without anyone else needing to validate it, you naturally radiate a quiet, unshakable confidence. On the flip side, if you're always trying to impress people, especially someone you're attracted to, you'll unintentionally give off an energy of neediness. Instead of showing your value, you'll project insecurity, and nothing kills attraction faster than desperation. High-value men own their path. High-value men, the ones who naturally draw attention, aren't chasing anyone's approval. They're too busy living with purpose, following their passions, and building something meaningful. Whether it's advancing in their career, pursuing a personal passion, or mastering a new skill, they're excited about their own journey. And that's the key. When you're genuinely focused on your own growth, you stop making her, or anyone else, the center of your universe. She becomes a wonderful addition to your life, not the thing that gives it meaning. That shift is magnetic. This is where Stoicism becomes more than just an ancient philosophy. It becomes a practical superpower. When you don't need constant validation, when your sense of self isn't tied to her attention, you become a man of substance, a man who stands strong in his own convictions. Mystery and attraction go hand in hand. Here's the beautiful part. You don't have to broadcast your every move or explain all your decisions. Just like the Stoics, you can stay centered, focused on your purpose, and let your actions speak for themselves. This creates a natural sense of mystery, and that's irresistible. She'll start wondering, what's he working on? What's driving him? Why is he so grounded? And why do I want to know more? Those little questions, those sparks of curiosity, keep you on her mind long after you've left the room. When a man is confident, focused, and genuinely passionate about his own life, he becomes compelling without trying. That's the secret. You don't need to pull flashy moves or over-the-top gestures to stand out. You just need to be a man who knows where he's going and who enjoys the ride. You are enough. Right now, this doesn't mean you need to be perfect. In fact, confidence comes from embracing your imperfections, your struggles, and your growth process. It comes from realizing you don't need to prove your worth to anyone because you already know your value. That's what makes you magnetic. A high-value man doesn't need to ask for validation. He creates his own value. And that quiet, confident energy, it draws people in, not just women, but everyone around him. The irony of attraction. Here's the twist. When you stop chasing her attention and start owning your life with confidence, that's when she starts thinking about you constantly. It's human nature. We're drawn to people who are secure in themselves, who have something going on that we can't quite put our finger on. That's what keeps her intrigued. Timeless principles in a modern world. In today's world, where distractions are endless and attention spans are short, it's easy to get lost in trying to constantly perform for someone. But the timeless truth is this: a man who lives with purpose, confidence, and self-sufficiency doesn't need to chase anyone. People are drawn to him. When you stop looking to her for meaning and instead focus on becoming the best version of yourself, she'll naturally want to be part of your story. She'll wonder what you're up to. She'll want to know more. And most importantly, she'll think about you even when you're not around. That's the power of living with purpose, independence, and a stoic mindset. It doesn't just make you more attractive, it makes you unstoppable. Focus on your personal growth. It makes you unforgettable. If there's one thing that consistently captures attention and keeps someone thinking about you long after you're gone, it's not how much attention you seek or how hard you try to impress them. It's how much you invest in yourself. A man who's actively working on his personal growth, who leans into challenges, who's constantly evolving, naturally stands out. He leaves a lasting impression without even trying. This is where modern Stoicism comes in. It reminds us that growth isn't some final destination, it's a way of living. And if you want to be the kind of man who lingers in someone's thoughts, it all starts with a deep commitment to your own evolution. Growth creates magnetic energy. When you're focused on becoming a better version of yourself, whether that's in your career, your health, your mindset, or your emotional intelligence, you start giving off an energy that's impossible to ignore. You become a man with purpose and momentum, and people are naturally drawn to that. It's human nature. We're wired to be curious about people who are going places. As Marcus Aurelius said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, the very challenges and obstacles you face, they're not barriers, they're the path forward. They're the building blocks that shape your character and sharpen your sense of purpose. Embracing challenges makes you intriguing. We've all heard embrace the struggle, but how many people actually do it? Most run from discomfort. But when you lean into challenges instead of avoiding them, you become something rare. A man who uses setbacks as stepping stones. That mindset, the one that turns problems into opportunities, doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you fascinating. Because a man who's always learning, always growing, always moving forward is never boring, he's never stuck, he's always evolving. And that's the kind of man people can't help but want to know more about. You become a story she wants to follow. When you commit to personal growth, your life becomes dynamic, full of twists, wins, lessons, and ambition. That kind of life is worth following. And more importantly, worth thinking about. She'll start wondering, what's he working on now? What new goal is he chasing? How is he evolving? And how far will he go? That natural curiosity is what keeps you on her mind long after you've left the room. Growth builds self-worth and shifts the power dynamic. Here's the real power move. The more you invest in yourself, the more you build your own self-worth. You no longer need her approval to feel good about yourself, because your confidence comes from within. You stop craving external validation. Instead, you carry yourself with a quiet, unshakable confidence, the kind that only comes from knowing you're constantly leveling up. That shift changes everything. Suddenly, you're not the guy trying to prove his worth. You're the guy who knows his worth, and that makes you irresistible. High-value men define their own worth. The men who are constantly evolving, the ones committed to lifelong growth, don't look to women or anyone else to tell them they're valuable. They already know their value, Itao, because they've built it themselves. That self-sufficiency and that ability to stand on your own 2 feet becomes your greatest strength. And that strength, that's what makes you magnetic. Ask yourself, who's more intriguing, the man who's always working on himself, always growing, always evolving, or the man who's stuck, looking for approval at every turn? The answer is obvious. Growth fuels confidence. And confidence fuels attraction. When you consistently show resilience, focus, and a hunger to improve, you become someone worth thinking about. Not because you're bragging about your accomplishments, but because the fire inside you is impossible to ignore. The modern world versus the Stoic mindset. We live in a world full of distractions, a world that rewards instant gratification and external validation. It's easy to get lost in the noise, worrying about likes, texts, and constant attention. But a man who lives by Stoic principles who focuses on what he can control, who commits to his own growth, that's the man who stands out. That's the man who leaves an impression. And that's the man she can't stop thinking about. Focus on your personal growth. It's your secret weapon. In a world constantly telling you who to be, what to want, and how to impress others, it's easy to get lost. But here's the truth. Real fulfillment and authentic attraction don't come from following the crowd. They come from within. This is where Stoicism drops a truth bomb. The more you focus on what you can control, your mindset, your habits, your personal evolution, the more attractive, confident, and self-sufficient you naturally become. And when you become that kind of man, guess what? People, including her, start to wonder about you. What's he up to? What's driving him? How is he always leveling up? That curiosity, that intrigue, that's the power of personal growth. People can't help but be drawn to someone who's always progressing. When you make your own growth your top priority, you don't have to chase attention, like you naturally attract it. Your energy changes, your confidence becomes effortless, and without even saying a word, you leave a lasting impression, because like the Stoics taught, your life becomes a living reflection of resilience, ambition, and constant self-improvement. So be the man who's always evolving. Be the man who wakes up every day striving to be just a little better than he was yesterday. Not to impress anyone, but because it's who you are. This commitment to growth doesn't just raise your value in her eyes, it makes your entire life more fulfilling. You stop living for approval and you start living with purpose. If you're ready to commit to this path, drop a comment. Growth is my power. Because this is just the beginning. Stick around because your next level is calling. Don't fear rejection. Embrace it like a Stoic. Let's talk about a fear that holds way too many men back, rejection. Most guys treat rejection like it's some kind of personal failure, but what if I told you that rejection, the thing you're so afraid of, could actually become your greatest asset? The Stoics knew this well. They understood that fear, especially fear of rejection, is nothing more than an illusion. It's a story you tell yourself, and that story keeps you small. But here's the flip side. When you stop running from rejection and start facing it head-on, you unlock real confidence. Not the fake, performative kind, but the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. High-value men, the kind who naturally attract women, don't fear rejection. They know it's just part of the game. They expect it. They even welcome it because they understand that every rejection teaches them something, makes them sharper, and builds their resilience. But when you fear rejection, you give away your power. You let your emotions take the wheel, and suddenly you're acting from a place of neediness and desperation, which is a guaranteed turn-off. Now flip the script. When you walk into any situation, a date, a conversation, a chance encounter, with zero fear of rejection, you take back control. You're relaxed. You're yourself. And that calm, grounded energy, that's magnetic. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said it best. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. That's the mindset shift. When you don't need her validation, her approval, or her attention to feel whole, you become free. Free to be yourself. Free to make bold moves. Free to stop chasing and start choosing. Rejection becomes neutral. Just data, not a definition of your worth. It doesn't control you anymore, and that's real power. This is the essence of Stoic dating. Focus on what you can control, your attitude, your actions, and release your attachment to outcomes, whether she says yes or no. When you do this, you stop looking for permission to be confident. You stop handing over your sense of self-worth. And ironically, that fearlessness makes you irresistible, because women are drawn to men who are secure enough to take risks. Men who can handle a no without crumbling. So don't fear rejection. Welcome it. It's not the end of your story. It's proof you're out there writing it. Embrace rejection. It's the key to authentic confidence. Imagine walking up to someone, whether it's on a date, at a coffee shop, or just in casual conversation, or without stressing over how they'll respond. No overthinking, no desperate need for approval. Just you being fully yourself. That kind of presence? Magnetic. You're not hiding behind some fake persona or trying to be what you think she wants. You're showing up as the real you, confident in who you are, with or without her approval. That freedom to be authentic instantly makes you stand out. If she's into it, great. If she's not, no big deal. You're still you, and your worth doesn't drop an inch. When you stop seeing rejection as personal failure and start seeing it for what it really is, a small moment in your bigger journey, everything changes. It's just feedback. It's just a lesson. And every time you face it without fear, you become a stronger, more confident version of yourself. That's the beauty of letting go of the fear of rejection, but actually you become unshakable. Whether someone says yes or no, your sense of self-worth stays rock solid, because deep down, you know your value isn't something anyone else gets to decide. And here's the kicker. This kind of mental toughness is incredibly attractive. It's the foundation of what it means to win with Stoicism, to keep your cool, your confidence, and your sense of self no matter what life or love throws at you. This is the version of you she'll remember. Long after you've walked away, she'll think about your poise, your calm energy, and the way you carried yourself. Because that kind of grounded confidence is rare. In a world addicted to external validation, or where likes, comments, and social approval feel like currency, it's easy to forget this. But the truth is, real power comes from knowing your worth isn't tied to anyone else's opinion. Especially in dating, when you approach her, or anyone, without fear, you take control. You're not hoping for her approval, you're just showing her who you are. That's when you're at your most attractive, confident, real, and in control of your own narrative. Rejection, it doesn't define you, it's just part of the process. The necessary stepping stone on your path to becoming your best self. Every time you face it head-on, you grow. And the more you grow, the more you realize that your worth isn't up for debate. This is the Stoic lesson in action, and don't fear rejection, welcome it. See it for what it really is, a tool to sharpen your mindset, build your confidence, and solidify your sense of self. The result? You become the kind of man who naturally draws others in. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because your inner strength and authenticity speak for themselves. So, are you ready to stop fearing rejection and start living with fearless authenticity? The choice is yours. Conclusion: thanks for tuning in to Win Stoic, where we dive into timeless Stoic wisdom to help you master your mindset, your relationships, and your life. If you found this valuable, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content designed to help you live with purpose and unshakable confidence. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new video packed with insights to help you become the strongest version of yourself. Until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and keep winning with Stoicism.